America's all-entertainment network.
Glad to see you. We missed you so much.
We?
Yes, Nancy. She was here for dinner. Don't you remember?
Right, I forgot. I didn't expect to be this late.
Well, she said that she couldn't stay, but she wanted to give you a hug anyway.
Thank you.
Well, sit down and tell me all about Dr. Key.
I don't know where to begin.
Well, what did you think of him?
Well, he seemed very expert, a good man.
Well, what's it like being hypnotized?
Very interesting. It's a little odd. Half being asleep, half awake. Physically is a kind of tingling sensation, and at the same time, a heightened state of concentration on facts, events, on the past.
How fascinating.
Apparently, I'm an excellent subject.
Did you discover anything? Well, something's wrong, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, dear God. I'm so scared. You're going to tell me something awful about Barbara Montgomery.
No. It doesn't have anything to do with Barbara Montgomery. You can put your mind to rest about that.
You mean you didn't do it?
No, I'm not hiding anything. I had nothing to do with the attack on her.
I knew it! I knew it! Oh, it's just such a relief to have it confirmed. What's the matter? Hey, you should be a little bit more enthusiastic after all this has been on our mind for months.
Listen to me. It's not the only thing that came to the surface during that session with Dr. Key tonight.
Oh? Well, what else could it be? I mean, there's nothing else about that night that
No, it doesn't have anything to do with the night at
important.
Barbara's apartment. It doesn't have anything to do with that night.
I don't understand.
It has to do with another night that I was very drunk and can't remember anything except it started to come back tonight under hypnosis.
Miles, I don't understand what you're trying to say.
You know, the night of Nora Fulton's murder, you have been telling me that you came to look for me at the Cornerstone Bar, but that you found me lying in a street corner. You put me in a car. You drove to the studio. You yourself went into the studio. You left me in the car in the parking lot. That's what you've been saying, right?
That's right. That's exactly how it happened.
No, that's not what happened. You've been lying, Nicole.
Oh, Miles, please.
I'm sorry. You've been lying. Because I know that when I left the bar, I went directly to the studio looking for you. I was at the studio before you came back. I was with Nora Fulton.
It means that you're going to have to do it.
Well, look who's walking in the door.
Well, hi, Val. Haven't seen you in a while. How you doing, Val?
Look, there's no approaching her right now, Calvin, at least for the moment. The only thing left for me to do is to just submerge myself in my work at the theater, and it's exactly what I've done.
Good. It'll be good for you. Keep you off the street.
16 hours a day.
Like I said, it'll be good for you. Anyway, how's your new assistant working out?
Camilla? Oh, yeah, really great. I mean, I don't know what I'd do without her. I think I'm going to have to put her on salary, though, because I'm afraid to lose her.
Salary? You mean she's working for nothing?
Right now, yeah.
It's the craziest thing I ever heard. How do you get somebody to work for free in a job that's that demanding?
Haven't you ever heard of a volunteer?
Well, yeah, I mean, for charities and things like that. Come on now, it must be something more than the glamour of the theater to lure a superior type like Camilla Devereaux into running your errands. So what's the appeal, huh? That manly charm?
Come on, cut it out. It is strictly a working relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You You are so jaded sometimes.
That happens to some cops, you know.
Yeah, I'm looking all over for you. Obviously, you've been looking in the wrong place.
What you been doing? Chasing ambulances on your motorcycle?
Well, I'm off duty. Besides, I'm a lawyer because I have a law degree, not because I wear a three-piece suit.
La-di-da.
Well, Cliff, what is it? You have that earnest look in your eye. I think we better have a talk, my friend, about Jody.
Want me to leave?
No, why should you leave? It can't be that private. Go ahead, Cliff. Well, Mitzi and I were over the video disco tonight.
Oh, slumming?
Well, it's not exactly the Bennett Plaza, but it's okay for those vacant warehouses. Anyway, after a few minutes, I saw Jody. So, she's free to do whatever she wants to do. Well, the thing was, it took me a while to recognize her. I mean, she looked very different. What do you mean, different? Well, it's hard to describe, but the word seductive, sensuous, sexy...
Cliff. What are you talking about?
When she's wearing boots and she has a red leather outfit slit up the side and she's got hair out to here and eye makeup out to here. I mean, I never saw her dressed that way before.
Well, it certainly doesn't sound like the Jody we all know and loved.
Not only that, she's using an alias.
What?
It's true. She's calling herself Cindy something or other.
Why would she do that?
What's so strange about that? I mean, it follows, doesn't it? She dumped me. She's looking for a new boyfriend. The video just goes a place to look for guys, right?
Yeah, but what kind of guys?
I think I'm gonna leave a little early tonight.
How can you? That leaves only the bartender.
Well, let him deal with it for a change. I've covered him enough as it is, believe me.
Well, maybe you should get permission or something from somebody.
Permission? I don't need permission from anybody for anything. See, it's either my way or the highway.
Quite an independent guy, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think I am gonna leave a little early tonight so I can take you home.
No, preacher, I've been thinking about it, and I don't think it's such a good idea for you to take me home.
Well, not a cute little package like you should be escorted right to her front door.
Well,
You're just afraid you gotta introduce me to your folks, right? Huh?
No, that's not it. As a matter of fact, I don't live with my parents. They're both dead.
I mean, you don't have any family here at all?
Yeah, I do. I live with my sister and my brother-in-law, but, well, they're not exactly with it. So I don't think they'd understand my coming to a place like the video disco, especially dressed like this.
Where do they think you go dressed like that? To check out a book at the library, to church? What do they...
No, they never see me in this outfit because I managed to sneak out in a coat.
So you mean my little princess is a sneak too?
Just trying to keep the family at peace.
I think what you're really trying to say is they wouldn't like you hanging out at a place like the video disco because you're under 21, right?
Right. And I think if they found out, I'd have some trouble getting out of the house again.
Are they rough on you?
Sometimes, but they can't help it if they're square. That's just the way they are.
Well, I guess I sort of know where they're coming from. I mean, I never had anybody really to take care of me or to care what I look like or where I went or anything, you know?
Hey, preacher, you have a good night, man.
Hey, later, my man.
Take it easy.
So long, sugar.
Bye-bye, baby. Be cool.
What about your family, preacher? Where are you from?
Me? Where am I from? Well, I'm from anywhere, somewhere, nowhere, I don't know. I sort of traveled around most of my life, as far back as I can remember. My mama died when I was born, so I don't know much about her except that she was real pretty, like you know. And my old man was this phony preacher, you know, one of those psalm-singing, Bible-toting evangelists, went around the country preaching the gospel, when the whole time he was running a scam on all these old ladies milking it from their savings, you know. I mean, it was nothing big time, you understand, but he did get a little stretch in jail, you know.
Sounds like quite a guy.
No, he was. I mean, he was hip, but what made his scam so good was that he always looked and sounded so sincere. He had the most incredible eyes I'd ever seen anybody. They were these piercing blue eyes that could see right through you. And he looked sincere the whole time. But really, he was just as phony to the bone, you know?
Where's he now?
Who knows? They took my old man off to jail and they put me in these foster homes. And some of them were pretty good. Some were pretty bad. See, what the welfare people did is they paid the foster parents to take care of us, you know. So I didn't dig that, you know. So I split and I'd get in trouble in different places and they'd find me and they put me back in other foster homes. But see, I didn't do anything major. It was just all lightweight stuff, you know.
So if you were always being pushed around from one place to another, how did you manage to get an education?
So there was one good thing that happened in my life. I was arrested by this rookie cop in Cleveland.
That doesn't sound like a good thing to me.
It was, because what he arrested me for could have been a pretty serious rap. but he let me off if I promised to go to school. So I went the next day. You know, I signed up for this like television repair course, you know, and that led me to all my interest in video technology and stuff like that.
So there was somebody in your life that was interested about what happened to you.
But that was one of 1,000, you know what I mean? But anyway, how did we ever get on this subject? Huh?
I asked you, that's how.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was, a real interesting preacher. I think I'd better be going home now.
Hey, will I see you tomorrow?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to get away, but I'll try. Good night.
Hey, wait a minute. Good night. All right, now I'm going to see where my little princess Jody lives.
Well, don't you understand what you've done?
Miles, please, let this alone. I am begging you. It happened just the way I said it did. Now, why can't you accept that?
Because it's wrong.
No, it is not. I am telling you, you were in no condition to remember anything that night.
Maybe not, but I'm remembering it now. This evening under hypnosis, it started grinding up to the surface, all of it.
How in the world can you believe that? You know yourself. You are a doctor. You know that hypnotherapy is an inexact science.
It's starting to be accepted more and more by medicine, but... listen, if you think it's so inexact, how come you were so willing to accept what I said about the night of Barbara's beating, but so unwilling to accept what I have to say about the night Nora Fulton was murdered?
Because...
Because I'm exonerated as far as Barbara's concerned, but now I'm implicated as far as Nora's concerned.
No, that is...
Sweetheart, be quiet a second. Now, you listen to me. Now, a lot of the facts about that night are still foggy. But this much I know. I know I was at that bar until I heard from Jody. Then I know I left it to go looking for you, but I didn't wander the streets. I know I went right to the television studio. I went right to the television studio, Nicole. Oh, come on. Trying to lock me out? There's supposed to be my wife in there. Come on, I know she's in there. All right, let's go get the keys. Nicole? Nicole, are you here? Nicole? Oh, hi. Hey, I didn't see you.
Well, well, if it isn't the distinguished Dr. Kavanaugh himself. I mean, the distinguished drunk Dr. Kavanaugh. You're carrying quite a load, aren't you?
Well, if it isn't the wicked witch of the Northeast, South, and West. Poor sad, sickle Nora Fulton.
Save the sympathy for your wife. She'll need it a lot more than I do.
Wife. I'm supposed to meet my wife. Where's she?
How should I know? She's late.
Well, she should be. What are you doing here, anyway?
But I thought you knew. I mean, I thought surely your beloved wife would have told you. Well, the fact of the matter is, I'm here to do you a great favor.
I don't need any favors
I'm here
from
to
you.
save your stupid neck. Your wife is paying me a substantial sum of money to lie about you. I'm here to tape a little confession, saying you didn't beat up Barbara, and that you didn't try to rape me in your office. It's not the truth, of course. I just happen to need the money.
Rot. It's blackmail.
Well, I guess that depends on which side you're on, doesn't it? You say I'm blackmailing your wife. I say she's bribing me. Whatever you choose to call it. You come out on top. You're off the hook, sweetheart. I think I'm being pretty nice, don't you?
You're crazy. She's not going to give you a penny.
Now, you get this through your thick alcoholic skull. Your wife is going to be here in a couple of minutes. And she's giving me $25,000. She's buying, I'm selling, whether you like it or not.
No, I'm not going to allow it. Understand me? I'm not going to allow it. I'm going to allow it. don't know whether I tripped over something, whether I was just too drunk to be able to walk. I remember falling, and that's all.
Miles, listen to me. You've had a very emotional evening digging all of this up, but you have to understand that these are just impressions that you are having. You just are imagining that this is what you saw.
Stop it. What are you doing? I'm not crazy. I'm not imagining this. I'm telling you what actually happened. You found me in the studio. I was in the studio. Now that's true, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yes.
Did you tonight know what I said about this guy? I hope you'll overlook it.
Derek, let's forget about it. I know that sometimes if you don't know someone well, it's hard not to be critical, but maybe we should just avoid certain subjects in the future, okay?
Okay. And if ever I have to say something about Skylar, I'll say something nice, or I won't say anything.
Chief Mallory?
Yes.
Phone call for you, sir.
We almost got out of here. Excuse me for a second. Where is it?
Right over here, Chief.
Hello, Chief Mallory. Oh, yes, Dr. Key. No, it's all right. I'm very anxious to hear about Dr. Kavanaugh. What? Oh, good. That's what I thought. No, I didn't think he was involved in beating that girl at all, but I needed something more substantial, and now you've given it to me. Great. I beg your pardon, wait. No, wait, am I hearing this right? Now, you're talking about the night that Nora Fulton was murdered. You're telling me that Miles was there at the scene of the crime?
The search for high-quality television classics ends right here on USA. Stay tuned for the longest-running daytime drama on television. Search for Tomorrow, next.
Your memory the night Nora was killed, you have got to forget it.
What are you talking about? How can I do that?
Because it is only complicating matters. Can't you see that?
I can just see that we're getting in deeper and deeper. Any kind of a cover-up is going to make things worse.
This is not a cover-up. It's just simply omitting an unnecessary detail to an already
Omitting a detail in a situation like this is breaking the law.
Oh, please, Miles, please stop it.
I can't stop. You can't stop either. This kind of thing, one lie compounds another. Things just get worse. Don't you understand what will happen if we keep silent about this?
Miles, I am frightened. Can't you see that I am frightened for you and what is going to happen if they find out that you were at the studio?
All along, you've been covering up for me, and there wasn't any need. All right, let's try to figure out what happened. You went to the Cornerstone Bar looking for me. I wasn't there. You didn't go wandering the streets looking for me. You went right back to the studio, correct?
Yes, that's right.
All right, you found me lying on the floor.
Yes.
You took me back to the car, put me in the car, then you went back to the studio a third time.
Yes,
All right, then that's what you got to tell your lawyers. That's what you got to tell the police.
No, I can't do that. That would just be more ammunition for their prosecution against me at the trial. Don't you see that? They'll say, oh, it's another lie by Nicole Kavanaugh. Don't you see?
What I see is what I learned a long time ago. The truth never hurts you, it only helps you.
Not in this case.
Yes.
Hi there, Dr. Kavanaugh. Just calling to let you know the Chief of Police Mallory is on his way up to see you right now.
Thank you very much. Derek is on his way up.
Right now?
Yes.
You told him? You told him that you were at the studio, that I had been lying?
Spoken to Derek. I came straight home from Dr. Key's office, but I'm not surprised the police set up the interview.
Oh, no, then Dr. Key told him.
He had every right to, Nicole.
Miles, please, don't offer any information. Don't volunteer it. Just please promise me that...
Oh, Derek, come on in. Can I fix you something?
No, thank you, nothing. I think I want to get right to the point. You both must know why I'm here. You were at the TV studio the night of the murder. You saw Nora before Nicole did. Now I want to hear all about it.
Oh, Mike, honey, how are you? I'm glad you called. No, I just got in. Well, dinner with Nicole, remember? We missed you. Yeah, well, yeah, she's doing fairly well. How are things going with you? Oh, good. And I don't mind you being away. All right, now we're even, huh? Okay. All right, sweetheart. I'll see you tomorrow. Right out. I love you, too. Bye-bye. Mr. Cameron.
Good evening, Nancy. Sorry to barge in on you like this, unannounced.
All right, come in, please.
Thank you. I did call earlier, but there was no answer.
Well, I was out to dinner.
Ah, is Mike here?
No, he's out of town on a business trip. I expect him sometime tomorrow.
Oh, it's too bad. I had hoped to talk with him this evening.
Well, is there any way I can help you?
Perhaps.
Won't you sit down? Let me have your coat.
Oh, thank you. Why are you calling me Mr. Cameron? I thought we were on a first-name basis. Have I lost that privilege?
Can I get you a drink?
No, thank you. Anyway, I saw Mike earlier today, and there are a couple of things I wanted to go over with him again. I'm particularly concerned about the sudden disappearance of Raven Alexander just 2 days before her scheduled wedding to Ian Devereaux. Now, I thought you might have some thoughts on that.
Well, no, actually, I haven't really given it any thought at all.
I see. Well, Mike said that she left Monticello so suddenly because of an illness in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had the distinct feeling, however, that he was holding something back, that he knew more than he was willing to tell me. Now, you wouldn't by any chance have any thoughts on Raven's absence, would you?
Well, I didn't talk to her before she left.
Ah, I wonder who did. Have you any ideas?
I imagine Geraldine Saxon.
Ah, yes, of course. If anyone would know the truth about Raven's sudden departure, it would be Mrs. Saxon. Would you mind very much making a little social call to her right now?
No, I don't think...
All you have to do, Nancy, is ask her if she's had any further word from Raven, that's all.
I really think that would be prying.
Nancy, I know that I have imposed a great deal upon you and Mike, but surely I don't have to impress upon you again the importance of even the smallest detail in this case. We've been over it 100 times. I cannot afford to miss a single thing. Surely you realize that by now.
Hello.
Hello, Geraldine. It's Nancy.
Oh, Nancy, dear, how are you?
Oh, I'm just fine, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm all right, except I'm suffering from an acute case of budget blues. I'm just going over figures for WMON. It is not my favorite pastime.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's quite all right. You couldn't please me more, believe.
Well, I won't take more than a minute. Geraldine, have you had any further word from Raven?
No, and it's infuriating not to know what's going on or where.
Yes, I'm sure it is.
Oh, I know that Raven and Skylar are in New York. I just don't know where to find them. My main worry is Ian Devereaux. If he were to find out what's been going on, it could be disastrous.
Oh, yes, that would be so.
Well, you never know how people are going to react, do you? I mean, I don't know Ian very well, but he may be the type to run amok.
Well, I hardly think that's likely.
Well, I suppose you're right. I can't imagine that proper gentleman doing anything so improper. At any rate, I'll worry until I hear from Raven.
Oh, please don't, Geraldine. I'm sure that everything is going to be all right.
Well, I think it will, so long as Ian doesn't know that Raven is having a final fling with Skylar. If that untidy little bit of information can be kept from him. The wedding may take place, but it's the marriage I'm worried about.
Well, if you do hear from her, would you let me know? Because I am just as concerned as you are. All right, dear. Bye-bye. Mrs. Saxon knows nothing.
Too bad, old boy. Rotten luck to have found Raven and Sky together like that in a New York hotel room. Still, it's better to have found out before you made a complete fool of yourself, isn't it? Can you imagine walking up the aisle and not knowing what had been going on? No, Raven. Thanks, but no thanks. It's all off, sweetheart. And jolly good luck to you both. Oh, no, the wedding plans. Mrs. Saxon is making all those arrangements. I wonder if she knows she's going to a great deal of trouble for nothing. Maybe Raven's forgotten to tell her. It would be just the sort of thing she would neglect.
Hello?
Geraldine, it's Ian Devereux calling.
Oh, yes, Ian. How are you?
Oh, fairly well, all things considered.
I detect a slight note of something not quite right. What is it?
Well, I thought I'd better let you know that there's been a slight change of plan.
You're talking about the wedding?
Well, yes. How did you know?
Intuition. What's happened, Ian? Have you heard from Raven?
Well, I did better than that. I saw Raven last night.
What do you mean you saw Raven? Where?
Well, in New York, of course. Or didn't you know that that was her actual destination rather than London? I thought I'd better tell you first thing, since I know you've gone to a great deal of trouble with all the wedding arrangements.
Now, see here. I must talk to you at once. You're calling from your home, I assume?
Yes.
Then stay right where you are. I'll be there in 15 minutes.
But really, Geraldine,
Hey.
Well, the coffee.
Yes. There you go.
Thanks.
What's the matter with him?
Slight case of love sickness, I think.
You think he'll live?
I'm not sure he wants to.
My kid, I know the feeling.
Hey, Gal. Calvin, over here, I'm here. Look, I know what you're thinking about. I personally just don't think you should take so seriously what Cliff says he saw at the video disco.
I just don't like the sound of it. Jody getting all decked out in wild clothes, wearing too much makeup, hanging out in a joint like that.
Hey, she decided to cut loose for once.
Wait, oh yeah. How would you like it if Dee Dee suddenly turned up like a go-go dancer?
Yeah, well, just so long as she didn't try it in the courtroom. Look, the fact that Jody did not look to Cliff like he expected her to look does not mean that anything is the matter. Women are always experimenting with a new look, change of image. You know that as well as I do. It doesn't mean that she's gone to hell herself.
I didn't say that. It just seems very curious to me that she would hang out in a place like the video disco all alone, whooping it up while her sister's in serious trouble. I mean, it's just not like Jody. I mean, she's a kind of public figure, too, with her TV show and everything.
I doubt very seriously that any of her viewers are going to know anything about her social life. I mean, how many 8-year-olds go to a video disco anyway? Look, she just probably wanted a little diversion. She's been under an awful lot of strain and pressure herself. I bet you that's the only reason she was there.
Alone? Wait a minute, maybe she wasn't alone. Just because Cliff didn't see her dancing with some guy does not mean that she didn't go there to meet somebody.
Mrs. Collier? Hi, it's Oscar. Dry cleaning's on the way up. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Oscar.
Ah, evening, Miss Travis.
Dr. and Mr. Kavanaugh home, or are they gone out?
Oh, not only in, but with a visitor. Chief of Police.
Thank you.
Hey, my man, how do you feel? With your hands, right?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, you know the young lady just came in, Miss Travis?
Yeah? What about her?
I need to talk to her about something. What floor does she live on?
Well, you can't go up, sir, without being announced. What was the name, please?
Hey, don't bother. Just tell me what floor she lives on.
Hey, mister, I can't do that.
Come on, it's about some TV repair.
Listen, as long as I'm on the job, nobody gets up into that penthouse or any other part of this building until I call up in a...
Did you say penthouse?
No.
She lives in a penthouse?
Not really, no.
The penthouse, huh? Huh.
Because I just didn't think that this sequence of events was that important.
Important? This puts a whole new light on things. And would you give me the proper sequence, please?
Look, Derek, at the time I had to choose priorities. I didn't want to waste time looking for Miles when I found out that he wasn't at the Cornerstone because I was afraid that I would miss Nora and therefore miss her confession, and that was the most important thing in the world to me.
So then you weren't looking for Miles like you told me before. You went back to the studio.
Yes, that's right, and I found him there in the studio, lying on the floor, unconscious.
Great. Just what the hell were you doing in the studio anyway?
I went there to look for Nicole. Jody had told me she was there.
Well, how did you get in?
Had a key. Nicole had given me a key a long time ago, so I walked in, or I staggered in, and there was Nora waiting for Nicole. She was her usual ugly self. She couldn't wait to tell me that she was selling her confession to Nicole for $25,000. I told her I had no intention of letting her blackmail my wife, and I guess it was at that point in the argument that I stumbled and I fell.
I didn't even know that Nora was in the studio until I got Miles out of there and into the car in the parking lot.
I'm sure Nora got a good laugh out of that.
And after I came back in, that's when I spoke with Nora, and we talked about what she was going to say on the videotape, and I wasn't angry with her then. I just begged her to keep good her word to tell the truth, and you know the rest of the story.
Telling me this all now, so late in the investigation, this makes things a lot worse. I hope you realize that.
Derek, I don't suppose there's any way that you could keep this from getting out into the open, do you?
No.
What? Jody.
Jody, where have you been?
Out.
Listen, Mac. Do you want me to call up and announce you, or don't you?
Hey, man, don't bother. Listen, I'll call in the morning about the TV.
Terrific.
But listen, just between you and me, man, they must be rolling in dough to live in a penthouse, huh?
I'm sure I really couldn't say, sir. Besides, I just do my own job, and I mind my own business.
I know where you're coming from, my friend. So, you take care of yourself, all right? And thanks a lot. That's twice she's lied to me about who she is.
Poppy.
Damien, I thought you were never coming back. I almost forgot what you looked like.
Well, good evening, fellows.
Damien. Well, is this an apparition? Can I believe that? Is it my old partner, Damien Tyler? About time you got back. As usual, I've had to carry the entire workload.
Oh, baloney, you look pretty rested to me. I think you've just been goofing off.
Yeah. How was Washington?
Full of politicians. Sit down. Actually, I think I'll join you guys in a little bit. I'm going to talk to this beautiful woman.
I don't see why.
Yeah. Sit down. Well, you look good, Poppy.
Yeah? Thank you. You look awful good to me, too, big boy.
Oh, thank you.
You know something? You left town so quickly that I don't even know why you went to Washington. What were you doing there, anyway?
Well, I told you about the trouble my father had been in.
Yeah, I remember.
The reason I had myself transferred to the Monticello Police Department in the first place was because I wanted to clear my father's name. So I traced this guy named Jefferson Brown to Monticello. I was convinced that he was the one who had stolen the documents that my father had been accused of stealing.
Yeah, I remember you telling me the story. It's better than a movie.
Well, I'm determined that this story have a happy ending. Now, the CEA has come up with some new information, so I went to Washington to see an old friend of my dad's, discuss it with him.
You found out something more?
Some new leads, maybe. Anyway, this friend, he's a senator. He suggested something that I just can't resist.
Oh. Something tells me I'm not gonna like his suggestion.
Poppy, what this man said was that if I really want to get at the truth, I'm gonna have to do it through the CEA. And the bottom line is that a position has been opened up for me, and I just have to take it.
No, you can't. Why, you love being a cop. Damien, I thought that you liked working with Calvin, and I thought that you liked me.
I do, you know, that's the truth. I love you. It's just that look, I have to see this thing through. I'll never be at peace with myself here or any place until I follow this thing through to the end. I'm sorry I have to do it. I wanted to tell you first. I guess I better tell Calvin.
I'm in somewhat of an upheaval here, trying to get packed and ready for my departure in the morning. So please excuse me if my hospitality isn't what it should be. I could offer you a drink.
No, thank you.
I'm sorry we don't have time to talk.
At least you could tell me where you're going, Ian.
Yes, but you already know where I'm going. I'm going back to St. Eleonora on what was to be my honeymoon. But owing to circumstances quite beyond my control, I'll be traveling alone, since there will be no wedding.
Going to St. Eleonora alone? Well, I do think that's a rather sudden, drastic move. Although I'm sure you have your reasons. Would you care to tell me about them?
Well, that would be a waste of time, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
On the contrary, dear lady, I'm sure that you do. You know the truth. From the moment I met you, I knew that Raven wouldn't be nearly as successful deceiving you as she has been at deceiving me. And I have the strong impression that I'm not the first of her victims.
Really, Ian, this is most unfortunate.
I couldn't agree more. But the fact is, you know where Raven is, don't you?
Well,
Oh, please don't try and suggest that she's in London. Because she's actually in New York with your nephew.
I know.
I should imagine they're enjoying the sights. Or whatever they can see from their bedroom window. Now, if you'll forgive me, I've mislaid some papers I need for my trip. I'll be a few minutes. Please, excuse me.
Of course.
Well, I mustn't keep you any longer. Tell Mike I'll give him a call tomorrow.
Excuse me. Hello?
Nancy, it's Geraldine.
Yes, Geraldine.
I'm at Ian Devereux's. It's happened. The wedding is off. I don't think there's any question of it.
Excuse me just a minute.
What is it?
This is personal.
This is about Raven, isn't it?
I suppose you could know. The wedding is canceled.
It's what? And it's Skylar Whitney's funeral.